Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling one massive, almost unimaginable question. What is actually hiding in the absolute deepest parts of our ocean? We're going to transform some incredible marine biology research and deep sea data into a journey you will absolutely never forget. We're leaving the sunlight behind, strapping in and descending straight into the ultimate unknown right here on Earth. I'm talking about the Stygian depths of the ocean. It's an environment so impossibly extreme, so utterly alien, that for centuries scientists literally believed it was a completely barren wasteland. But as you'll see in just a minute, what's actually hiding down there challenges our very definition of life itself. So get ready, because we're heading straight into the abyss.
Okay, let's dive into this, because the contrast here is absolutely mind-blowing. Think about it. We are constantly looking up, right? We pour billions upon billions of dollars into space exploration. We've meticulously mapped the entire surface of Mars, Venus, the Moon. But ocean exploration, it gets just a tiny fraction of that funding. And because of that, the vast majority of our own ocean floor remains completely unmapped and unseen by human eyes. I mean, we literally live on a blue planet, yet the dark waters right beneath our feet represent this massive, glaring blind spot in human knowledge.
Section 1. Surviving extreme sea conditions.
Right, so as we drop away from the sunlit surface and plunge deep into the abyss, we immediately hit a truly staggering number: 1,000. Down at the deepest points of the ocean, like the bottom of the Mariana Trench, the hydrostatic pressure is 1,000 times greater than what you and I feel at sea level. I want you to imagine the sheer physical crushing weight of that for a second. To put it into perspective, it's the exact equivalent of having a fully loaded jumbo jet parked on every single square inch of your body. Yeah, it's a bone-crushing, metal-bending kind of force. And honestly, for a really long time, marine biologists just naturally assumed this sheer physical pressure alone would make complex biological survival completely impossible.
And it's not just the pressure. The everyday realities of this environment are exceptionally harsh. We are dealing with total, absolute darkness. Sunlight simply doesn't penetrate this deep, which means photosynthesis, the foundation of almost all life up here on the surface, just cannot happen down there. So you combine that pitch-black darkness with temperatures hovering just a tiny hair above freezing, plus that crushing hydrostatic pressure we just talked about, and you have a recipe for what really should be a lifeless wasteland. Yet amazingly, life always seems to find a way to adapt to even the most unforgiving conditions.
So how do we even know what's down there in the first place? Well, our marine biologists have had to develop some incredibly sophisticated research methods just to unlock these secrets. First up, we use high-resolution sonar from surface ships to map the topography of the abyss. Then we deploy ROVs. These are unmanned remote vehicles equipped with cameras and robotic arms to cautiously hunt for life in the dark. And finally, for the really complex, high-stakes missions, scientists actually climb into highly specialized manned submersibles. These tiny titanium spheres are quite literally the only thing standing between the researchers and that deadly pressure outside, allowing them to witness the ocean's secrets completely firsthand.
Section 2. Incredible deep-sea creatures and their alien adaptations.
Okay, we finally reached the ocean floor, and guess what? It is far from empty. In fact, it is teeming with these bizarre aliens, starting with the anglerfish. Now, what's really interesting about this is how it survives. In an environment with zero sunlight, finding your next meal is incredibly difficult. So the anglerfish, it just brings its own light. It actually has a modified dorsal fin spine that protrudes right out of its head like a built-in fishing rod, tipped with a glowing bioluminescent lure. It just sits perfectly still in the pitch-black water, waiting for curious prey to swim just a little too close to that mesmerizing light. And then, bam, it snaps its massive, translucent teeth shut. It's an absolute masterpiece of deep-sea adaptation.
But this next discovery, wow. It literally forced scientists to rewrite the biology textbooks completely. Down along the tectonic plates, researchers found deep-sea hydrothermal vents. These are essentially underwater volcanoes continuously spewing this boiling hot, totally toxic chemical soup straight into the freezing ocean. And surrounding them, a massive, thriving ecosystem. We're talking giant tube worms, blind crabs, specialized bacteria. They don't use sunlight at all. They use a process called chemosynthesis, drawing their energy directly from toxic chemicals like hydrogen sulfide. It was a massive game changer. It proved, once and for all, that life doesn't require a sun to thrive. It just requires energy.
Then, we have the aptly named vampire squid. Now, despite its completely menacing name, it's actually not a predator. It's this ancient, incredibly unique survivor that feeds on something called marine snow, which is basically just falling organic debris from the surface. But its defense mechanism, that is what makes it a true marvel of marine biology.
When it's threatened, it doesn't just squirt ink like your average shallow water squid. Nope. Instead, it literally turns its entire body inside out, exposing these menacing-looking fleshy spines, and ejects a massive cloud of glowing, bioluminescent mucus to blind and startle predators in the dark. I mean, it is bizarre, right? But it's a highly effective survival strategy.
So, the real question here is how deep can life actually go? Enter the Mariana snailfish. This little guy is currently recognized as the deepest known fish on the entire planet, found swimming around nearly 5 miles down. Now, you'd probably expect some heavily armored, tank-like beast to withstand that 1,000 atmosphere pressure, right? Actually, scratch that. The snailfish went the exact opposite route. It has a soft, gelatinous, entirely translucent body. It lacks any heavy bones or hard structures that could get crushed. By staying perfectly flexible and producing special proteins at a cellular level, it mirrors the pressure inside and out. It swims gracefully in a place where our best human engineering would be crushed like an empty tin can.
Section 3. The Ocean's Hidden Secrets.
So, through the glowing lures, the toxic worms, and those ghostly snailfish, we have really only seen a microscopic fraction of the abyss. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why. Think about the percentage of our ocean that has actually been scientifically explored, mapped, and sampled. It is incredibly small. The rest, the vast majority of it, it's just the great unseen. Scientists estimate that the deep ocean hides literally thousands of secrets and undiscovered marine species. Honestly, almost every single time a marine biologist drops a specialized ROV down into an unexplored trench, they find an entirely new species. The deep sea is like this massive, sprawling library of biology, and we've barely even finished reading the first page.
Which brings us right back full circle to this profound, slightly unsettling realization: we genuinely have better maps of the surface of Mars and the Moon than we do of the bottom of our own ocean. That isn't just some catchy phrase for a headline, it is a literal scientific reality. The deep ocean is, without a doubt, the true final frontier of biological research. Because while space offers us mostly barren rocks and the distant hope of microbial life, our own ocean is already overflowing with complex, giant, alien-like ecosystems right beneath the hulls of our ships, just waiting to be uncovered.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought to ponder. If we've really only barely scratched the surface, if we've only illuminated the tiniest fraction of the abyss with our submersibles and our sonar, what else is actually down there? What colossal, undocumented, completely alien mysteries are still swimming around in the freezing, crushing dark right beneath us at this very second? The ultimate frontier isn't light years away in some other galaxy. It's plunging deep into the waters of our own home. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer. Keep your curiosity alive and never, ever stop wondering about the deep.